Hey everyone, this is the Best Alpaca, and today I'm going to bring you a tutorial on how to run a 6-man operation on the Carrack. I will begin by explaining the roles of the ship, from captain to crewman, with as much detail as possible. I highly suggest that you watch the whole video so you understand how each role works in case you're asked to fulfill one of these roles in the future. A quick note is that this video would not be possible without DG360's Carrack Manning and Operations video, which was only possible with a detailed report created by Petty Officer First Class J-Dubs of the United States Navy. This video is not intended to be stolen content from DG360's video, but rather to be a simplification of the roles for people to have a better understanding of what they need to do while aboard the Carrack. I've gone ahead and simply changed the way that the ship is run compared to the way J-Dubs has arranged it in his report, but there is going to be links to J-Dubs' report as well as DG360's video below, so you can go ahead and see the differences for yourself and come up with your own ways of running the Carrack if you'd like. Another quick note is that this tutorial is intended for Star Citizen Alpha 3.12.1, so certain operations of the ship like engineering, damage control, drone operations, and medical operations will not be included here. When these game mechanics are implemented in-game, I will add an updated tutorial including those roles. So let's start with the first role of the ship, and that is the captain. The captain is the leader of the ship. They are in charge of piloting the ship, commanding the crew, and commanding all aspects of exploration, whether that be while piloting the Carrack, the C-8X Pisces, or while driving the Ursa rover. When the commander is not on board the Carrack, due to any exploration missions or any other reasons, he or she will pass command of the ship onto the commander. Also, should the captain decide to remain present on the Carrack, the commander will then command all aspects of the exploration missions. Now, during battle stations, any point that the ship is going into combat and the captain calls for battle stations, the captain will use the main command seat of the lower bridge to pilot the Carrack. This allows the captain to get to his battle station as quickly as possible, should he be in his quarters or in the mess hall, or practically anywhere else in the ship, but most likely he will be on the habitation deck. During combat, it is the responsibility of the captain to keep command of his or her crew and keep them aware of the current combat situation. Let them know when to engage, what distance to ideally engage from, if you plan on retreating or not, etc. The captain may switch their battle station to the command station on the upper bridge should they wish. The commander is the co-pilot as well as the chief security officer. Should the captain step away for any reason, it is the commander's responsibility to captain the ship as well as command the crew until the captain is once again present and willing. This is not to say that the captain must be present on the main deck to command the ship, but rather should the captain be unable to give command or pilot the ship due to them not being on the Carrack, them being unconscious, or them being dead, the responsibilities of the captain will then fall onto the commander. While the captain is piloting the Carrack, it is the commander's responsibility to make sure orders given by the captain are completed by the crew. For example, if the captain calls for battle stations, and the bottom turret is not manned after 45 seconds, it is the commander's job to repeat those original orders to the crew and to find out why those orders have not been completed. It is also the commander's responsibility to make sure that everyone on board the Carrack has set their preferred ICU to the Carrack's medical bay. During battle stations, the commander uses the main command station of the upper bridge. The responsibilities of the commander during battle stations consists of co-piloting the ship as well as overseeing battle operations. This will consist of following up on the captain's orders to make sure that they are being completed, as well as reassigning crew if needed. The commander will also take over bridge operations while in battle stations. This will consist of monitoring radar, navigation, and shield management. Again, the commander's battle station may be switched with the captain's under the captain's request. The operations officers. Under normal circumstances, the operations officers are responsible for running the ship's navigation, radar, and communications. This is a two-person role that requires two people to run in tandem, one being the first operations officer and the second being the second operations officer. Under normal conditions, the operations officers will both use the side command stations of the upper deck. Note that both these roles are even in rank, meaning that the first operations officer holds no rank over the second operations officer. During battle stations, the first operations officer will stay on the upper deck to take control of the remote top turret, while the second operations officer will move to the rear of the ship to the starboard turret to engage any enemies. Again, the responsibilities of navigation, radar, and shield management are taken over by the commander during battle stations. Next is the ship's crewman. They are responsible for the subdeck or the lower deck of the Carrack. Normal operations as a crewman consist of maintaining and securing the vehicle bay, the cargo bay, the armory, and the docking collar. For this crew layout, there needs to be a minimum of 2 crewmen for the Carrack to run efficiently, in my opinion. One of these crewmen will be assigned to the role of Master at Arms, or MA for short. As the Master at Arms, you are responsible for keeping the armory stocked with weapons for respawning crew to rearm with. The funds for these weapons should be initially spent out of pocket, in my opinion, and it is the responsibility of the captain to reimburse you for these weapons. But please note that this should be confirmed with the captain before making any purchases. If you do not have the funds to initially buy these weapons, please let the captain know. The other crewman will be assigned to the role of Loadmaster, or LM for short. As the Loadmaster, you are responsible for securing any cargo or ground vehicles in the Carrack. Typically, if you have any ground vehicles in the Carrack, they should be owned by the Loadmaster, so they are able to be repaired by them and or respawned by them when landed in the appropriate location. Note that it is still the role of the captain to operate any ground vehicles like the Ursa rover while on exploration missions, unless otherwise stated by the captain. Any other crewmen on the ship are responsible for securing vital areas such as the medical bay, the upper and lower bridges, the C8X Pisces hangar, the cartography deck, and any entrances to the ship. During battle stations, the Master at Arms will take control of the Carrack's bottom turret, but please note that it is important that before the Master at Arms enters the bottom turret, they should leave at least a half a rack's worth of rifles in the armory for respawning crewmates to rearm with. Also, do not put all the guns you have for the crew onto every gun rack at once in case of 30Ks, ship explosions, etc. It's better to lose just one rack's full of rifles than all the rifles you have. While the Master at Arms operates the bottom turret, the Loadmaster will be responsible for getting to the technical deck and operating the port side turret. Any other crewman on the ship will be responsible for securing the medical bay, the upper and lower bridges, the C8X Pisces hangar, and the cartography deck, as well as any other entrances to the ship. It is also important to note that they should be guarded in that order, in my opinion. Now that we have all this information, let's go over a battle scenario so we can better understand how each of these roles operate. A Carrack with a standard crew plus 1 extra crewman is traveling through quantum space from ArcCorp to Crusader. There is a captain, a commander, 2 operations officers, 3 ship's crewmen, totaling 7 crew. Inside the Carrack, you have an Ursa rover, as well as a C8X Pisces. Right when you come out of your quantum jump, a Cutlass Black as well as 2 Buccaneers begin to attack the Carrack. As the captain waits for the quantum drive to cool down so you can jump your ship out of there, he or she calls the crew to their battle stations. By default, the captain is piloting the ship from the main command station on the lower bridge. They then begin to pull evasive maneuvers to avoid incoming fire. The commander is on the command station on the upper bridge. They take control of the ship's shields, navigation, and radar from the first and second operations officers. They then make sure that everyone on the ship is heading to their battle stations. The first operations officer will give up control of the shields, navigation, and radar to the commander as stated before. They will then take control of the ship's top remote turret. The second operations officer will leave their station on the upper bridge and head for the rear starboard side turret on the technical deck. The Master at Arms crewman, who's already loaded some rifles into the armory, has entered the bottom turret. The Loadmaster crewman will leave the ship's subdeck and go up the ship's mid-lift to the technical deck. From there, they will head to the back of the ship where they will man the port side turret. The third crewman will also leave the subdeck, but they will go up the ship's rear lift to the habitation deck. From there, they will head to the med bay, where they will guard the entrance from anyone attempting to board the ship and spawn camp the med bay. In cases where there happen to be more crew on the ship, they will be assigned to the role of crewman. Their responsibility during battle stations will also be to guard the med bay, the bridge's upper and lower decks, the Carrack's C8X Pisces hangar, the cartography deck, and any entrances to the Carrack in case any attempts to board. Under the captain's orders, any extra crewmen that aren't the Master at Arms or the Loadmaster can also join the captain on the lower bridge to assist with power consumptions, shield management, etc. I hope this video has been helpful, and if you have any questions, be sure to let me know in the comments below. I'd also like to hear your thoughts on the way I've arranged the ship's crew. Do you think there should be anything different? Do you think anything's missing? If so, please let me know, and I'll be sure to get back to you. Thanks for watching.